Hi everyone, my name is Elsa Miners. I'm on the line with Linda Apolipsius, founder of Teatulia. I'll let her introduce herself. Take it away, Linda.
Hey, yes, I'm Linda Apolipsius, the founder of Teatulia. Yeah, happy to be here.
So Linda, I was wondering if you could speak to a little bit about how Teatulia came to be.
Yeah, so kind of a funny story. Uh, so Teatulia came about. Uh, so my husband and I were friends with this guy, Anis Ahmed. He is a Bangladeshi guy who happened to be getting his PhD in English literature from NYU. He met my husband, Adam. Um, they met in a coffee shop. So they met in a coffee shop called Grey Dogs. And um, they had been both going to the same coffee shop for a number of days. Adam was writing the great American novel, Anis is writing the great Bangladeshi novel. They're both writers, but hadn't talked to each other. And then one day, Monica Lewinsky walks in, and that broke the ice. They finally decided they had to talk about it. They had to process who they'd seen, um, and they're like kind of the same people. They're both like just super smart, kind of nerdy guys, and they hit it off right away. So Anise came into our life way, and we were really just buddies with him. We went to go visit we went over actually for their wedding. We were the only wedding guests who oddly did not go to the, but niece was staying with us in Los Angeles and telling us how the garden was progressing and said that they were interested in looking at the US market as an export market for the teas. At that point, I had been working with my family's business, Glow. I knew I was going to have some time on my hands, and I offered to help Anise do a business plan and do a market analysis. So that's really how it got started. And that was probably about 14 years ago, really offering to help, and not necessarily anticipating being with it for 14 years. But
Mhm.
the more I learned about the business and the more I learned about the garden and the model, the more I realized that we really had something unique to bring to the market.
So after you met Anise and you were introduced, you put together this market analysis for Teatulia. At what point did you decide that to really run with it?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it happened pretty incrementally. So at first, I really just was focusing externally, focusing on the market, what the opportunities were. Initially, we actually were really thinking of going after tea shops, which turned out to really, we pivoted for a number of reasons. They really weren't receptive to the idea of a new origin tea, and the opportunity actually just really wasn't that big. So we pivoted to CPG and packaged tea, and because the size of the prize was much bigger, but the challenge remained how to stand out in a crowded, relatively low interest category.
Mhm.
So we eventually understood that the story was something unique, and if we could really tell the story, then we could set ourselves apart. Also, with unique packaging, we could stand apart. So I really initially just focused on the external market. Honestly, until my husband went over there. He went over there to shoot a video for the website, and
Really?
when he was there, he was really able to sort of tease out, both through video and just through his own experience, how different this was. Like, actually, how unique this regenerative tea garden that was built on these sort of permaculture sustainability principles was in the scheme of things. That then coupled with going to some tea conferences where I'm listening to a lecture on trends, and every single thing that Teatulia represented. So garden to cup, organic, sustainable, vertically integrated supply chain. We were already doing it, so we were actually leading the curve. So sort of the more data points I got, I realized that Teatulia was maybe even more than on trend. We were very much sort of ahead of trend, and that this was definitely an idea that could go somewhere.
That's awesome. I had no idea Adam was the mediator between the whole relationship.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
he
really
really
cool.
kind of was.
Thanks to Adam.
Oh yeah.
I was also wondering if you would highlight one of your favorite piece of our sustainable culture or vertically integrated, like out of what you've seen in the garden and how we do things, what is like the piece you like to highlight the most?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just honestly the simplicity of it. I went, I remember the first time I went to the garden, I'm sort of driving around being just, continually blown away by what the garden is and thinking, wow, this is really revolutionary and this is next level progressive thing. And all of a sudden I was like, wait, this actually isn't. This is how it's supposed to be. Sort of in the last, 100 years, 150 years, this gee whiz science has come in and really interfered with the right way to do things and sort of our connection to the land and Mother Nature and her wisdom. And we've screwed it up. We've actually short circuited the entire sort of natural system. And what the garden has done is really gone back and sort of trusted that the earth and the natural cycles um, know what, they've done it for millions of years, right? Like nobody needed humans to come along and help. And so it's kind of the simplicity of it that I find so spectacular. I think we tend to just really complicate things. And then the other thing is just the healing nature of what we do, at every step of the way. You go over to the garden and you see this land that's just destroyed and just utterly devoid of life through human interaction, through rock lifting, and through deep organic farming methods, through regenerative farming, you can literally heal the planet. And then that trickles down to the people who are working the land because you're like, there's more oxygen, it's a more sort of vital system. And then it trickles further down the supply chain to people enjoying the tea because the product is clean, the product is richer in nutrients than a conventionally grown tea or produce or anything. So and then of course just the overall sort of minimal footprint and the fact that this is actually giving back and restoring. So yeah, so a couple of things. It's such an elegant system. It's such an elegant story, um, and I look forward to getting more land and having more impact and reversing environmental degradation, sort of 1 acre at a time as we go.
Hmm. Yeah, that's really cool. It's funny, I was thinking about something just today about like in regards to movement and work and reading about the effects of like sitting all day. And it is just
Hmm.
like so simple, there's all these gadgets to, you know, undo this, but really the simplest thing to do is just like move and go on a
Yeah,
walk. And yeah, I
just get
feel
up
like
and go
it's
for a walk.
yeah, just parallel to like how we treat the earth and we've come up with all these ways to do it when really all you need to do is let nature do its thing.
Well, and so much of it is just because you can't make money on walking, right?
Right.
Like nobody can charge you to go walk around your block. And did you read Omnivore's Dilemma?
No, I haven't.
Oh, please read it. It is literally like the life-changing Bible for me.
Mhm,
But the one of the many millions of lessons in it is that agriculture, one of the reasons it's gotten so effed up is because you can make more money the further you take an ingredient or a product or a
mm,
vegetable away from just what it is, right? So it's
right,
like, corn. If you're selling an ear of corn, you can get 2 cents. If you're selling high fructose corn syrup for the same amount, you can get, $100 for a liter or something. Like, so we're just we're so committed to sort of, transforming and I keep thinking like bastardizing, sort of
right,
natural things.
mhm,
And then in the process, the benefits get lost and people get hurt. And it's very unfortunate. And that is one of the things I'm hoping with COVID that we sort of go a little back to simplicity.
mhm. Yeah, the beauty of it all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Since no one is going to be able to afford the gadgets anyway,
right.
do away with them.
Yeah, and really stripping back, like, the things that you actually need in your life
Hmm.
when you're, spending 8 hours at your house a day, like, how much of this junk isn't necessary.
Yep, almost all of it.